application automation using the Selenium tool. So Selenium is one of the hottest automation tool in the market today. The reason behind the why team is preferring Selenium rather than QTP, we have some points to discuss. So the first and most important point is QTP is a license where you have to buy the license to use the QTP. But Selenium is completely a freeware. So it is like an open source. You can use the tool as well as you can develop or you can extend the actual source to your purpose. So you can add more code in addition with the existing API if required. So that is the most important reason why people choose Selenium nowadays. And the biggest other thing is QTP will not support multi-browser testing. But in Selenium, we can do the cross-browser testing for almost all the available browsers in the market. Let's say the Firefox, Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Safari, as well as the Android application. Android browsers, we can use our Selenium to automate our browser application testing. So these are the basic reasons why the team choosing Selenium as an automation tool. The Selenium have 3 different modules. One is Selenium IDE, which is the first version of Selenium 2. The second one is Selenium RC. It is like a basic version of server client module. The latest one is Selenium WebDriver. So let's go back to the Selenium IDE and talk about few things. Selenium IDE is basically a plugin for your Firefox. So you have to install the application, the Selenium tool, only in your Firefox browser, and you can test only your Firefox browser for your automation. So this is one major drawback for the IDE tool. Let's go to the Selenium RC. This is the first version of client-server API model in a Selenium tool. So this API is basically written in Java. So as JVM sits everywhere, your RC, Selenium RC can sit everywhere in the machine. It's not only for Firefox browser, it will support all the major browser automation. Your code, whatever you have written in your RC, remote control, you can utilize or you can execute the code, the same content to test your multi-browser application. The latest module, the latest version of Selenium tool is Selenium WebDriver. Actually, both Selenium and WebDriver is 2 different modules. Selenium 2, the APIs from the Selenium 2 as well as the APIs from WebDriver combined together, now it's known as Selenium 2 or Selenium WebDriver. So this WebDriver is the most advanced tool to help you to automate your web browser application. This API is nothing but application programming interface. So this WebDriver interface is written in Java. So as Java known as the multi-platform support, in any platform, irrespective of your OS, you can use your WebDriver tool. So this is basically an API. It's nothing but a complete tool consists of Java files. So Java file is nothing but Java archive, return the code Java file. API is pure Java file. So it supports, whenever you start writing your code, it is not necessary that your code should be in a Java. So this WebDriver will support multi-language also. So if you know any of this one language, Java, C#, Python, Ruby, PHP, you can start writing your automation code using Selenium WebDriver. The second most efficient part is, as the Selenium RC supports, Selenium WebDriver also supports the multi-browser. So you write the code one time and you can use for the same code in your multi-browser testing. So start from Firefox till your Android application, you can use the same code to execute your automation. So by using this WebDriver, at the end of the code, we are going to write a framework. So when you say framework, it is nothing but a generalized structure, a generalized project structure which has some basic guidelines how to execute your in a mode of hybrid, or we are going to develop a framework in a mode of hybrid. So hybrid is nothing but where you can use your test data as well as the command, nothing but your keyword framework together. So in terms of utilizing WebDriver, hybrid framework is the most convenient way to start working with your application. So before getting to this project structure, we are going to start with the Eclipse setup, and we are going to start a new project for Java, and we are going to start writing our first Selenium automation code. So download your Eclipse tool. So you can search for Eclipse download, go to your Google. So you can just search for Eclipse. It will give you the latest version of Eclipse. So please choose the Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers, which is nothing but your simple zip file. You can extract that and you can start accessing your Eclipse IDE using this one. So once you unzip, your Eclipse folder will be looks like. So just double click and start this Eclipse IDE. So once you close your workbench, the home page, you will get the structure like this. So this place is used to call Eclipse workbench. The first thing, you have to start creating a project. This project is nothing but where you are going to keep your folders or the code in your Eclipse file. So let's start with creating a first Java project. Navigate your file, select new, select the Java project. So name that as a name. So there is some guidelines for the naming conversion in terms of code Java. So before getting to this actual WebDriver code, we have to understand the part of code Java. The reason behind why we are choosing code Java here is, as the API is written in Java, Java is the easiest language to learn as well as to accommodate your code in your WebDriver. So instead of irrespective of all the other modules, like if you see here, this Selenium HQ is the site where you are going to download our WebDriver. If you navigate to the documentation part for the WebDriver, this supports, as we saw, this WebDriver is going to support these many languages, and we have preferred to choose the Java as your programming language. So in Eclipse, you have to create a Java project, and along with the project plugin, you have to download and set up your build path with your Selenium Java. So let's start downloading the Selenium tool. This Selenium tool, the WebDriver tool, is nothing but a plain API. So as I told earlier, it is a simple jar file. We are going to download the jar file and include on our Eclipse workspace and start utilizing the WebDriver tool. So the first download should be Selenium server. So you have to download the latest part. If you click the latest part, this is nothing but your simple jar file or either zip file. So this is a direct jar file. Download and keep it in your local space, like in your local disk. The second stuff you have to download is based on the programming language you are choosing. As we are choosing Java as our programming language, we are going to download the Java version of Selenium client. So you have to download the same version. Most probably the server and the client will be in the same version. So choose the most recent version in your Selenium client as well as server. So download this server. This is actually a zip file. So once you download, you will get the Selenium jar in your local folder. So this is your Selenium standalone server, and once you unzip, you will get these many jar files within the client. So now your tool is ready. You have to start your project which accommodate or which use this Selenium jar. So choose your project, which is we created just now as a Java project. Right click, go to your build path and configure your build path. So you have to choose, because we are going to add the external jar which is available in our workspace. So choose the standalone jar. So the first part is choosing your server jar. The second one is you have to choose which is available in the zip file. And the third one, all the jar files available within the LID folder, list folder. So now your project is ready to automate your web application. So let's choose this scenario to automate your application. So at any browser application, the first step is open a browser. So now we are going to open a Firefox browser. So why we are choosing Firefox as a major browser? If you back to your Selenium site, if you see in the downloads, we can come across a topic called third-party driver. For web driver, apart from Firefox, other drivers or other driver is nothing but which going to initialize your browser, which going to drive your browser, that is known as driver. So apart from Firefox, all other browsers are third-party drivers for web driver, which means only the Firefox driver is returned by the core Selenium team. So other browser support is returned from third-party people. And for the IDE, you have to support or to initialize your web driver in terms of Internet Explorer, you have to download a separate exe file, and for the Chrome also it will be a separate exe file. So we'll talk about in the next session. Today we are going to initialize and work out in our Firefox browser. So in terms of automation, the first scenario is open a Google and get the title. So I am going to automate this scenario using my web driver. So the first step is you have to open a browser, right? The second step is open URL nothing but google.com. The third step is fetch the title. So these three steps you are going to write in terms of Java program which utilize the Selenium tool. So in your project, normally in Java project, this SRC is the parent package. We never insist to use this package. So please create a low-level package. So you can give any user-friendly package name. And the second step, start creating a Java class. So as we discussed, Selenium web driver is nothing but plain Java classes which utilize this Selenium Java. So every program in your automation code is nothing but a plain Java class. So I am giving the driver name. So to execute this program, you need a public static void main method. So we have created our first Java class. So now the second step is you have to initialize your browser. Step 1 is nothing but initialize the browser. So to write this code, we have to understand the API structure. Nothing but what are the class files available within the web driver. So back to your Selenium HQ file. Okay. Under the download section, wherever we download the Selenium client path, you have a Java doc command. So this Java doc is nothing but which will explain you the each and every class available within the jar file. If you see our project structure, we have n number of reference libraries in terms of jar file which comes from your Selenium tool. So we are going to understand what are the class files within this jar file is available and the use or purpose of the Java class. So the first Java class is nothing but a web driver. Okay. So we are going to choose the web driver class. So if you are aware of core Java, you must understand what is this interface. So a web driver is not a class, it's actually an interface. We have multiple implemented class. Each and every class is nothing but your browser driver. So I am going to initialize this web driver interface using a Firefox driver class. So the first step is initialize your driver object. So you have to import your Selenium tool in your project. So you are doing an import, it's nothing but now your web driver is available within the class. So initialization is nothing but using a new command. You can't initialize the web driver as it is an interface. So you have to use any of the so when you write this statement, your browser gets open. Right? So your initialization the Firefox browser. The second step, you have to open the URL. So how to open the URL? The method is already written. The function is already written. You are going to use that function. So what is the function and how to use that? So navigate down. For this particular driver class, these are the available methods. So we have already created a class or object called driver. So if you put a dot operator for this driver, it will show you the list of available functions or methods for this particular class. So the first thing you have to know about the get method. So get is a method of driver object which takes a parameter in terms of string. So this string is nothing but the URL which you want to open. It's nothing but application under test. So we normally say or we give the name as the application what you are going to test is application under. So this is nothing but our Google application now. So you are going to use the get method with the string. So you have to provide the exact URL for it within the string. So the exact URL is nothing but it should contain the HTTPS or the HTTP, the protocol name with the extension of a proper browser, the application. Either it can be an EDU or it can be a com.co.in, org, normal in or EDU. It should be a complete URL which starts from your protocol, ends with your browser, the application extension. So in the second statement, the browser is already open and the URL, whatever you are providing, is already open now. So the third step, the third scenario is we are trying to fetch the title of the browser. So if you see here, we have a method called getTitle. The return type of this method is string. So to understand this return type, calling a method, so you have to have a basic core Java knowledge to start with your Selenium code. So I am going to create a variable to hold the title value which is returned from getTitle. So you can choose or you can either do your system.print.out so that we can see the title once the program completes. Nothing but you fetch the title from your driver object, which is nothing but your actual browser, and you're going to print the title here. So how to execute this program? Now we have written the code. So we have to see whether how to execute this automation code. So as this is a simple Java application, choose your class file, right click, run as Java application. So this program gets executed. If you see here, it will automatically open the Firefox browser from the statement 1. So the Firefox browser gets opened and it is connecting to the google.com site. That is the second step. The site gets opened and it will automatically fetch the browser title from the get method. So my program finished. If you see here, you got the system output, your console output as the title of your browser. Right? So we have already opened, do the performance, do the actions, whatever we need. Now how to close the browser which is gets open. So the third step or end of your test case must be close browser. So you can't leave the browser as it is after the each execution. So you have to say or call browser.close. So one complete scenario gets over. So you open your browser, reach the application under test is nothing but a simple URL. Do the action whatever you want, you close the browser. Right? So this will be a complete scenario. One scenario, instead of opening a browser, typing a URL, start looking the title as a manual interruption, we did through the Selenium tool. So in the next session, in the upcoming session, we are going to talk about each and every method available for the driver. So this is how the project is going to start working with. And in terms of automation, whatever we do through the manual interruptions, whatever the steps you perform, typing, clicking, and doing a mouse over, doing a keyboard actions, nothing but your control, alteration, alt key, everything can be automated using your WebDriver tool. And for the real-time scenario, each and every application is going to contain hundreds of modules or thousands of test cases. So we are going to organize those test cases in terms of framework. As well as we are going to use additional tools which will help us to control the project execution.